Well, Steve Henderson, there's a big election in Detroit this summer, headed into the August primary. Of course, a lot of this will be decided in the August primary. And we have an unusual year in Detroit in that we have four open city council seats. And they've attracted quite a bit of interest. I think each of the open seats have anywhere from 6 to 8 candidates, and even the incumbents, most of the incumbents other than Mary Sheffield, as far as I can see, face challengers. What are you expecting out of the election?
Well, I mean, I think the council races are interesting because of the open seats, right?
Mhm.
This is the first time since the redraws, when we split them into districts, I think that we've had this many open seats. You've got a lot of people who just decide they don't want to do this anymore. Raquel Castaneda Lopez and Andre Spivey, Brenda Jones all said, they're just calling it quits. And the idea behind the districts originally was that you'd have these, kind of political fiefdoms, if for lack of a better term, where the district system and the district representatives and the mayor's offices that in each of those districts would produce candidates from neighborhoods who would have a shot at council who didn't before.
It looks like that might be the case.
I think that's actually happening. You look at these districts and the people who want to serve, they're people who are really involved in those neighborhoods on the ground. A lot of them are community activists. Some of them are business folks. I think this is part of the maturation of this new system, which was supposed to give ordinary people, a better shot and a bigger voice in city government.
And it's good to see that politicians leave when they feel, they've done what they can do or they're no longer interested in it. So many hang on to these offices for life, particularly in a place where, and in an office where name ID is everything. But you're going to have a whole new council, four new members. Would you expect, Steve, a new approach? What will that mean for mayor council relationships at this point?
Well, the question is always who on council is able to lead others in standing up to the mayor. Right now, Brenda Jones every once in a while can get it together and say, hey, we see it this way, we want to do it this way, and can force the mayor to change something. I mean, Prop N last year was a good example of that. Council didn't love the way that it was rendered the first time. They made him go back and redo it. The question now will be who's in that position, right? Likely new president is going to be Mary Sheffield, is my guess. Can she rally the other members of council to challenge the mayor? It's supposed to be a system of some checks and balances. It's a very strong mayor city, but the council's there to voice individual parts of the city concerns about legislation. And you always wonder how effective that can be, especially when you have a mayor who is as powerful as Mike Duggan is right now.
And who is also on the ballot and has no serious challenges. Nobody has a chance to beat him. I know Anthony Adams is in the race and some others, but you would have to think that Mike Duggan's going to win hands down. How important is it that someone in an office like mayor has a challenge and does have to mount a vigorous defense of their tenure when it's time to run for?
I am a huge fan of elections, right? And real elections and choices and real choices for voters. We should have better candidates for mayor, I think, than we do. And when I say better, and I don't mean to disparage the people who are in the race. I actually like Anthony Adams. I think a lot of him. I don't think he's a very strong candidate. Mike Duggan, Tom Barrow. This will be, I think, the 5th time he's run for mayor. Each time voters have said no. I just don't think that doesn't make for much of a challenge. One thing that's true, though, and I don't think anybody could have predicted this. You go back to Mike Duggan's original election, I guess 2013.
Yeah.
And think about how hard it was for him to win that election. I mean, he couldn't get on the ballot because of the mistakes they made with signatures or something. He had to make mount a write-in campaign that seemed insane. He wins that, and now he is, he seems unbeatable.
But voters see progress. And I think no matter in this city, they were frustrated so long by the lack of progress and things heading in the wrong direction. And they're seeing now a different direction and not worried so much all the time about things getting closed and cut and services going away. And I think they're responding to that. But Mike Duggan and the council, no matter who it is, are going to probably, as a group, have the easiest job of running the city than anyone has had in a long, long time because of this huge flush of money that's coming in from the federal government. But the question is, this money is not there forever. I mean, this is a splash, a flood of money that's going to come through for the next 2 years, and all these communities and the state have to figure out how they're going to spend it in a responsible way and a sustainable way. They can't start a whole lot of programs that are going to need continued revenue to sustain themselves because that money surely won't be there.
The fear among a lot of the politicians is that you spend it on one-time things, thinking that you don't want to have to sustain them in the future, and that those things don't make the difference that they could. I mean, this is a weird influx of money. I mean, it's being done on behalf of an emergency, which was the pandemic, which is sort of a time defined issue, but it's so much money that the potential to spend it on things that could go far beyond pandemic recovery is there.
But the limitations are there as well. I mean, this would be wonderful if we could say, gosh, the state's getting $5 billion or $9 billion total. Schools are getting all this money. If we could use it to finally get our infrastructure here up to where it needs to be, but there's strings on that to make that harder. I would advocate for using it to get our workforce up to the point where it needs to be. We're still a lagging state in terms of skill level and education level. We could use that money as a big push, for example, to get everybody literate in the state so that they can work.
I think what you'll see, I mean, the mayor's plan, I think, rightfully focuses on the city's biggest problem, which is that, that there are too many people who just don't have opportunity to escape poverty in Detroit. But again, if you can build in there these things that make permanent difference for people and not temporary difference, that'll be money well spent.